Hello guys, and welcome back to Strategic Command, World War II World at War with our Allied playthrough. It's June 20th. We are literally one end turn away from when we should be seeing Operation Barbarossa kicking off. In the last episode, we just watched the Axis do their turn. The invasion of Yugoslavia is going, and it hurts. The invasion of Greece is also going, but it doesn't hurt as much. It mainly hurts right here. Thankfully, this is on the Metaxas line. They're being drawn to the weak Second Corps. They sense weakness and just want to go for it, and well, at least it's working out. We trapped 2 Italian units behind our lines by no feat of our own, entirely the fault of the Italians being dumb. And over in China, we are just destroying the Japanese that are in China. However, that's not stopping the Japanese, as we can see, from sending special forces and other things to who knows where in the Pacific. So we're gonna have to start splitting British MPP because what we're doing right now is just not sustainable, unfortunately. We are gonna, let's say, look at Africa first. That's a pretty easy to digest front, if I do say so myself. So let's see here. We have an army sitting at Tripoli. We have everything on this TAC bomber that we need. The only other thing we can get right now is long-range aircraft. We do not have ground attack weapons, but we are researching them. So let's get... So what does supply look like, actually? Okay, you have no supply over here whatsoever. It said that you did, but now you don't, so that's a shame. I wish that you did. We're going to take this army. We're going to move it up right in front of the enemy army, which is at 8 strength, 4 supply, 33% readiness, 27% morale. Unfortunately, 3 entrenchment. That's going to be the big one. We're going to go ahead and we're going to TAC bomb that. We dealt no damage. We unfortunately took a damage right in the elite replacement. I do believe that brought their readiness and morale down, however. We're going to move the arty up as far as it can go. That's going to be pretty important. We're going to set the tanks over here. Not the best circumstances to be attacking in. I do say so myself. We're going to need infantry up by the front more than we're going to need an anti-tank unit. So we're going to send the infantry up. What we're going to do here, anti-tank can follow behind, albeit, of course, it won't really be that necessary. This is all Allied occupied. We should make sure that there's no partisan anything here that we have to worry about. It's just not going to be the best place to base out of. We ideally want to get this guy out of here because, well, he has no supply. He'll start taking damage next turn. We can do some damage, even with the current situation. We're going to take the army. We're going to attack the opposing army, dealing 2 damage, taking none, better than it said we would do. We will then take this tank, and we will attack. It's a little bit less entrenched over there, that army. Doing the 2 damage it said we would do, taking 1 damage, unfortunately, even though it said we'd take none. We're going to move the recon over here, so hopefully it will be in supply now that we've fully encircled the enemy army here. The enemy army is down to 4, so we're actually doing pretty well in this assault so far. Quite happy with it. It could be 1 turn, maybe 2 at tops, that we take Tripoli and finish up Libya, and from there, figure out where to go. Again, I'm still thinking Greece. I'd love to send over here, but this is just, it's too far. I don't know how you, like, you'd have to send the whole Navy here to actually do this. It's unfortunate. Let's look south. So, I saw a funny thing. I wish I saw it last turn. I didn't really look. The supply is so bad without the HQ. The roads are basically impassable in Sudan. So either I should have operated, which I did not, because this is not even a road we're on a railroad, or I should have just started heading south, because as we see, the supply is better projected from both the town, the port, and the HQ. So we're just going to start heading south, where there's going to be more supply for us to move into. It's all clear from here. It's going to take a while to get these Indians down here, but it's okay. We have experience now with the Sudanese. We're going to go ahead and attack. 3 damage instead of 4 this time. We actually took some damage this time. That's unfortunate. I can, you know what I can do? I can move back to get the Sudanese Defense Force Corps like repaired while the Gurkhas come down and prepare as well. We can go ahead and reinforce the 1st Corps back up to strength, yeah. Move the heavy artillery forward. This artillery really could use some mobility. Guarded in the rear by an entire army. It's just the supply here is so bad that it's hard to actually move or anything like that. We have a town right here we could start advancing on. I'm going to take a step down the road. What do we see? Nothing. Take a step onto this mountain. What do we see? Nothing. We cannot see what's on this town. Now that is concerning. It's concerning because we don't know what's waiting for us. Let's take a step forward, and what do you know? There's nothing at this town. This is Axis occupied. Okay, so this counts as a liberation. Well, let's go ahead and step on this, shall we? We have liberated our first town of Ethiopia, and we hardly needed anything to pull it off. Would you look at that? That's nice. So what's supply here? Supply producing is 2, very little. Supply is not going to move too well down this road, unfortunately. Supply up here is 5. That's going to start projecting into here. We're going to leave them up there is what we're going to do. I'm not expecting, judging by this, too much resistance here. So, you know, the Indians and etc. They're going to get to go somewhere else in good time. Maybe I should have just been sending them to Greece. These Indians. I didn't really know what to expect here. But it doesn't look like they're even going to be fully necessary. We've kind of just attrited away at the opponents with just the South Africans. This is good. You know, the sooner this gets wrapped up, the sooner we can move these into Europe. You know, well, if we can afford to, right? We're only doing what we can afford to. The Indians, thankfully, are on someone else's bill than the UK. The Indians still giving as much of their convoys as possible to the UK, which as of right now is 25%. That's another reason why research for India in Indie Tech is so important, because it means they can send more because they make more, because it's a percentage. Now, the Indians don't really have enough to research much. We go for amphibious warfare. I don't really know how much we'll need that with them. However, there's also not a lot of other things that we need. One, research in amphibious warfare could be good. Meanwhile, there's a lot of other things that we really could do with getting, such as anti-aircraft defense. Stuff that's going to be invaluable if we're going into Europe. You only need amphibious warfare if you're not expecting to have a port. If Greece stays up, we have ports. If Brest stays up, we have ports. It's just going to be hard to get to them. And I still don't know if Germany will attack Vichy or not. If it does, then theoretically we could even move all these African units here up through Tunis and Algeria, because this would be friendly, right? I mean, we had actual German battles here, but this might have been more Rommel. I don't know that part too much, but I know there was a lot of fighting over there. I'll tell you that much. I know that. So India, I'm a little unsure about. I'll probably just hold on to the points for right now. And we'll go take a look at the USSR, who needs to brace really, really heavily, because we're probably going to get attacked next turn. Like this upcoming turn, we're probably going to have Germans swarming us. So we still need to get these infantry weapon upgrades out there. We're not even done with that yet. I can't wait to get the MPP gain of the USSR at full strength with the Americans and the British being able to send them stuff. I don't even know if I want to send British stuff to them, but I feel like I should. Even if the British won't be able to attack as many things by themselves, the USSR is able to recruit just so much more and is able to cover so much more of a front. So maybe more important, let's upgrade the engineers with weapons. The engineers, I just have kind of fortifying this location by themselves due to a lack of having other units that would otherwise do it. Who else needs upgrades over here? Well, at this point, we're going way back in the line to Stalingrad, Voronezh, a whole bunch of weird things. Things that aren't entirely necessary yet. Instead, we could look at something else, like something to research, something important. There's not a lot that we can afford of importance, but one thing that actually stands out to me a lot is logistics. Logistics is very, very important for the USSR. We're going to be moving by rail so much. So making it cheaper would be great. I'm noticing this game probably is not going to simulate the fact that the Germans would not be able to use our rails and vice versa due to using different rail gauges. Not many games do simulate that, but this one was pretty in-depth, so for a second I kind of forgot that it probably wouldn't. Oh wow. We have 32 MPPs remaining. That means we could probably get an infantry weapon upgrade into someone else. Okay, here we go. This is perfect. The Special Forces, 19 MPPs. We're down to 13. That's probably all we're getting into anybody right now, but that's fine because that's all we need to. This also means that these Soviet cruisers are going to be in the war, although I don't think the ones in the Black Sea can get through Turkey, which makes them kind of fucking useless if I do say so myself. And then there's just this one destroyer that cannot get past the Baltics. This is where the German fleet is probably based. The actual surface-based German fleet, so that's going to be fun to deal with. We can definitely expect them to be in the war probably next turn. Now we have another situation over here. We're going to take the Brits and we're going to reinforce this up to 8. Oh, that's terrible readiness and morale. It's unfortunate that it is that way. It looks like this core we were fucking up. moved to get out of that attrition hellhole that it went into. And we can reinforce the 6th Corps here, which got into not a very defensible location, but a location filled with supply. Oy. The HQ not being on Belgrade does hurt the amount of supply we receive from it, unfortunately. Belgrade is the most important thing here. It is the capital. I can't reinforce this because of the supply. It's too high for the supply, funny enough. And it just keeps getting air bombed, so I also can't upgrade it, which sucks. That absolutely sucks. We can go ahead and reinforce this core here for what it's worth. We can go ahead and reinforce this core here. These have infantry weapons. This one doesn't, but these have infantry weapons. These are defending against a enemy German push. The Italians have taken Skopje, but it's nothing too important. Calling back to what I said prior, I don't think Yugoslavia is really going to live. I think it's probably going to fall. I expected this from the beginning. I'll put up a fight. I'm not paying for any fucking Yugoslav army to be made because it's probably just going to die. It's probably going to be a waste of money. The Greeks were a different story, and the Greeks are holding the line and doing exactly as I kind of hoped they would do. So, looking at what we have over here, these tanks are just, they're stuck. This infantry is just stuck. I don't even know if we need to attack it, to be honest. It takes so much action points to get out because of what they left behind them. Attacking the tank could just be getting us losses we don't need. These things are just going to be attriting on their own. So long as we leave an army here that they're just not going to be able to attack. At least, you know, ideally. However, that does not mean we need to do nothing here. There's things we need to do. These Desert Air Force fighters, unfortunately, they don't have a lot of supply down here at Larissa. The supply over here is just, once again, not that good in general. So, moving them up did provide some air support. However, I can't maintain a lot of air support here, to be honest. Because all the supplies around the HQ and the HQ's up here. There's nothing else I can send there. Unless I got O'Connor's whole force up here, up there. And if I did, oh boy. The only problem here would be the bottleneck. Which the Soviet front does not have a bottleneck. That's going to be fun. That's going to be fun. We'll take the Epirus army. We'll go ahead and attack this corps across the river again. This tactic is getting us kills. We dealt one. We lost none. At least we're keeping that up. Slowly gaining some experience. Which is nice. Not 100% sure what to do up here with this corps that's just not ready or capable of doing anything. We'll take the first corps. We'll attack. Dealt 1 damage. Took none. We actually got the enemy corps to retreat. Its morale and readiness is so low. We might as well attack it again with the Athens corps. Dealt another 1 damage. Took none. Okay. What I'm going to do is something that's going to hurt my entrenchment, like, everywhere. But it's something that's going to help me overall. So I'm going to take the first corps here. I'm going to move them in front of whatever that is. I'll move over there. I'm going to then take the second corps off the front line here. I'm going to move back to where these guys just were. I'm going to take the third corps and move them up to the Metaxas line. They took over the entrenchment there, which is perfect, so they actually have some entrenchment. So this corps has all the upgrades, you know. This is why I gave this one the mobility. I had this in my mind. I knew we'd kind of be able to do this. So, here we are. We now have a corps that is in position at the Metaxas line with all the upgrades and much more capable of defending itself, fighting alongside, you know, the Macedonian army who's up here. The Epirus army, as a reminder, is just in a mountain, not actually behind any fortifications. That might change later. We might want to swap things out, but this is probably the best thing to hold this pass, to be honest. It has the upgrades. It has what it needs. We'll take the Macedonian army and we'll attack the Sitting Duck enemy corps, even though of what I said before, because it's just a good way to get some experience and no losses. Thank God. I would hate to be proved wrong as I was speaking. Their readiness is 3%, morale is 1%, 0 supply. Yeah, they're going to probably attrit to death anyway. But getting experience for the Macedonian army here could help the whole Greek war effort in the long run. That's my hope. These guys, whatever ones don't end up on a front, will hopefully be able to supply, you know, reinforce. This one especially, I want to get the infantry upgrades on next turn, if at all possible. Looking over the Atlantic for a minute, we know the enemy German submarine went north. We don't know how far north or if it turned or anything. But I'm going to go looking for it. It may have just gone east. Potentially. It may have even gone west. It's hard to tell. We just kind of have to patrol and find out. We're not seeing anything, so we might just have to wait for it to show up again. We're going to take the Canadian destroyer here and sail it up the American Lend-Lease line. This is going to need some reinforcements. It cannot get that until America joins the war over here, or it had to sail to the UK to otherwise get it. We also have 2 more ships here that do need to go back and not only get their ASW upgrades, but they also need to repair. We do have a single destroyer that does... Wait, no, this one doesn't have its ASW. Fuck! This one does. This one has it. We'll go ahead and we'll sail that around to the safe side if we run into a submarine. Nope. That's unfortunate. We also have... Okay, the Mohawk just needs more replenishment. So, German submarine somewhere out here. It's not here. We don't know where it went, unfortunately. What I'm ideally wanting to do with the UK this turn is put points into getting ready over in the Pacific here, because since the enemy Japanese they're getting special forces going, I am concerned. I am concerned... I don't know why it's amphibious, though. This must be staging to attack the Philippines or Malaya or something. It can't be staging for Indochina, because they're going to probably get that for free, like, next turn. So I'm not too sure about how that's going. To start with, we're not expecting a need for mobility over here, but anti-air, certainly. We're going to start by just getting upgrades over here in the Pacific. Reinforcing can come next. Upgrades are very, very important. Anti-air, infantry weapons... definitely could help them prepare over there in Malaya. Other than that, for the UK, all we really have to prepare is if we were purchasing units, or we're also reinforcing things in Australia, which is not of utmost concern. That's not what would be under threat first, so that could come much later. And if any units do pop up over here, they're probably going to pop up and we'll maybe have a chance to reinforce them. I don't know. I don't know how exactly the AI is going to stage. Probably not in the same way that a player would. But Australia itself shouldn't be under any extreme duress or anything. The UK does need to keep advancing in research. We've kind of ignored it recently. I had another idea, but it just didn't work out. I spent a little too much MPPs this turn before I really thought of it. So I'm going to invest in something else in the time being. There's a lot of things we need here or could use here in some fashion, but what I'm gonna go ahead and do, I think, we are expecting some Canadian armor to roll in for free in some time. So I think what I'll do with the UK's points right now is I'll go ahead and research armored warfare so that the tanks can start getting some extra base morale, because we'll have 2 of them for free, and we'll certainly end up getting more by the time this is done. And this is just like a one-off research. It doesn't cost a whole lot. We still have 86 MPPs we can assign. Oh my god, look at all that. 86 MPPs we can assign, and plenty of places where we would like to assign them, such as ASW to the Javelin Destroyer. We can go ahead and reinforce the Jersey up to max. That would be pretty useful. Reinforce the Mohawk up to max. That would be pretty useful. Are there any other destroyers in range? No, I don't believe so. Others would have to come from elsewhere. We know there's German submarines skulking about. We just need to wait for them to show themselves. We have many other points we need to assign elsewhere as well. I never did reinforce this tactical bomber, so I'm going to go ahead and reinforce that. It could also use some upgrades that we just haven't had time to budget at the time being. We're going to look at Canada. We have 48 MPPs remaining. And this looks like a good opportunity to go ahead and give infantry weapons and anti-air defense to the Canadian Corps here to get it ready in case I do need to transport it for any operations in Brest, you know, if the UK can ever afford that. But when war is declared against the USSR, I'm kind of hoping that can push America over the line. I thought it would be Yugoslavia or something, but no. But America should be getting over the line for Lend-Lease to begin soon, and thank God. We have to take those American MPPs and start putting them somewhere else, because they have more than enough. It's time to look at China, though, and with China we have a very interesting situation. So my strategy here is going to seem really weird. I'm kind of just going to accept the fact that I cannot defeat Haikou in the time that I have remaining. So what I should be preparing for is a march on Hanoi. The Hanoi Kunming Railway will fall. What a shame. Not much I can do. Now this doesn't mean I'm gonna stop artying the shit out of this core. I'm still gonna arty it. That much is for sure. But I'm gonna take this core and I'm gonna move it well out of the fucking way here. I'll move it well out of the way where it can recover. Hopefully it'll be out of line of sight of the enemies that are nearby. We have 2 armies we need to deploy. There is no need to deploy them in the north or in the east or anything. We are just overwhelming the enemies with bodies there. So we're going to deploy them down here with the assumption that they're going to be needed for a push on Hanoi. I'm not 100% sure of where to deploy the second one. but it needs to be somewhere in this area. We could also pull this guy back so that he gets a chance to recover. Yeah, it may not be the best situation, but it'll work. It'll do. Let's move you up as well. And let's send the new 68th Army down here, kind of focusing on recovering. We have this heavy arty entrenched, so I'm not too concerned about like this moving up or anything. I'm more concerned about enemy air activity down here. And I don't think the plane can actually fly that far south, but we do know that that is where a lot of their carrier air is currently based. So I am going to fly the fighter plane south down here. Yeah, I don't think we can at least protect this. We can't get any farther. We would have had to like operate or something, and I don't want to pay for that because that's very expensive. Very, very expensive. Okay, so the enemies are absolutely falling apart over here. Still out of supply, this core can die easily to another core. So, and this, oh my god. Oh my god, do you see how quick this is going to die? Let's go ahead and attack with this core on the enemy garrison. 2 damage dealt, none taken. Let's attack with you. And voila, what do you know? Some national morale bonus. We can go ahead and park this core, because it could use some replenishment at some point over here in Shanghai. We have retaken Shanghai, an industrial center, an important location. Now, in the rear, we're going to take this core and attack the enemy HQ. And we've killed the enemy HQ. That's a good national morale bonus. Hell yeah. We can now send someone else up the rear. I'm going to say the 3rd Corps is the one that will move forward. And we're going to attack the enemy. Ooh, we have choices here. Well, first we'll use the 2nd Corps to attack the enemy core here. Alright, cool. That's wiped out. That's good. We did take some damage, however, but that's mostly inconsequential. And now let's see what we have here. So we can do great damage to that HQ. We can get our armies marching south into the hills here, leading up to the enemies. I will go ahead and attack with the 3rd Corps first, dealing 5 damage, taking none. Sounds pretty good to me. The 23rd Army can actually move in here. The 23rd Army can also get elite reinforcements, but it doesn't need them. It's going to move up, and it's going to attack the enemy HQ. Enemy HQ's dead. And now the enemies up here have almost no supply. Almost. Not no, but almost no supply. And they are having very bad readiness problems. Yeah, they're shaking. It's going to become a lot easier to deal with them. Same thing with down here. Like, they're in a pretty bad situation. We're going to send the 2 corps that can move forward to surround the enemies over here. To go and actually surround them. Looks like our frontal assault capacity is looking pretty good. Oh, this is beautiful. Alright, it's time to get real aggressive. Real aggressive. Alright, so let's go ahead and take the 4th Army. Finally move them out of this mountain. Down to here. Let's see. We have better odds with the cores, funny enough. That might be because of an XP difference, but we'll go ahead and we'll attack with the core first. 2 damage dealt. 1 received. Attack with the core. 1 damage dealt. 1 received. And with the army, 2 damage dealt. None received. That's fantastic. The Central Expedition Army, which is a very elite army, is on its last legs, quite frankly. And now we can take the 5th Corps here and attack the 17th Korean Army. So this came from Korea, huh? Well, it's not going to last very long. We dealt 1, we took 1. That was off elite though, so it's not as important. Let's go ahead and attack. Well, it's actually more expensive, but this is part of why we're seeing the success we are seeing here, is because of all this stuff that we have and have access to. It's time to take this HQ. Damn, it still can't move all the way up to Hangzhou. That's sad. I want to get it over here where it can then provide more supply just in this general region. That's kind of my idea. So we have we have HQs focusing on like every single aspect of this, in fact. I'm realizing. That's not so bad. This guy can't get any further in, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would send him in. These guys have done their attacks. I think he's on a railway, so I think he's fine to be where he is. We can start operating him elsewhere later. We're winning a fight of bodies here. We just don't need all these bodies here anymore with how weak the enemy is. I'll refrain from attacking these ones. Maybe they'll move off their entrenchments. If they don't, we'll just surround them further. The supply is going to crash and plummet with no HQs, and I don't see a single source of supply here. If they get down to 0, they will be slaughtered. So that'll be fun. What is China's morale? 97%. Japan's down to 76%. All right, cool. That's nice. You get some defensive fire off last turn as the army at Peking tried to attack southeast. They have brought another army up here, which is not the greatest thing. But we are going on a bit of a core-based offensive here. I'm not sure how far north I should move with these units. Because this army, it did get its weapons, but it's not at max. But if we really want to push this, we're going to want to move the 5th Army forward. We're going to want to move it forward. It should still end up having enough supply at the end of the day. So, and we're going to want to be a little offensive with the artillery. So the entrenchment on this unit is a little high. We're going to want to try to bring that down. So it's down to 1 entrenchment. Let's go ahead and attack again. It's down to 0 entrenchment. All right, the odds are getting better. Good, good, good. We can also even cut the line leading directly into Peking. Interesting. We can only do it with this core. Oh, this one too, probably, but we don't want this one doing that. We'll send this core forward to cut the line, kind of drive a wedge in between them. We will also take this core, we're going to move it forward up to the enemy HQ, because that is way more important than anything else we could fight or hurt here. We're going to go ahead and attack. That was a good usage. We can go all the way around it, completely cut off the rail line leading here, and secure the town of Chifeng because they have nothing there. All hail the light tanks that I thought would be pretty much useless. We'll attack the HQ. Not too much like good damage on the HQ. Now that we have all this secure, I don't know if the HQ is even really going to be able to move through it, to be honest. I have no idea how the HQ is going to handle this. We're going to go ahead and reinforce this core rather than use it offensively. We are going to... See, this is where we could use more cores up north now that we're going on the offensive up here. We're going to send the L core all the way up north here, attack the enemy HQ, and we have destroyed the enemy HQ. Now, we see they do have a core behind us and some garrisons, but now they'd have to rail right up to us. We've kind of cut all of this off from big sources of supply and anything that it might be relying on, including another army. This is another recovery price, 450 MPPs that we have just surrounded. Now, they do still have sources of supply, so it's not like they're sitting ducks or anything, but we're seeing really good progress here. We're definitely going to have to start moving some units up north to keep taking advantage of this. Since we have an excess of forces down south, I'm literally just going to cycle whatever I can up north without operating, because we want to save our MPPs, especially if Hanoi is about to fall. So we're going to send the 41st Army, the 42nd Army up north. We're going to follow that up. Ooh, a lot of armies we have available. Okay. The Dare to Die Special Forces are going to follow them. And the 12th Army at Suchao, yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll send that one up north as well. It's probably more important for this HQ to follow our forces up north. I wonder if the HQ could lure the enemy off Peking. I doubt it, but let's go ahead and move the HQ north. The Zoo HQ could definitely do with following the troops up on this offensive. We're going to move the 12th Army up north. We're going to move the anti-air. We're actually going to keep that down south, just for right now, so it can provide protection over this region. I'm not too worried about any of the rest of this falling. The enemies here are on their last leg, and we outnumber them to all hell. The Chinese have enough MPPs to purchase something or get research. I think we have more than enough things purchased. There are some things that could help us, but there are no more easy short-term goals. We're probably going to have to prepare for an invasion of Indochina once it most likely falls. Our invasion elsewhere is going perfectly. The Japanese will not be able to recover from this. Garrisons could be cool, but I'd rather start using more of the MPPs we can totally use on China since they have the lowest maximum research. We're going to want to be using this pretty efficiently. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to research the next infantry weapons because infantry is what the Chinese rely upon. I was thinking of amphibious warfare, but the opportunity we would have to actually amphibiously invade anything would not be coming anytime too soon. We do still have 68 MPPs available. Some garrisons could really be handy, and we can still get 2 more of them. I think I will do that. I will go ahead, I will get another garrison, and I will give it infantry weapons in production. Does that change the production date? No, it does not. Good to know. And that thing I was going to do with the UK, I might still be able to do next turn, assuming circumstances allow. That could help prepare Malaya for invasion. That would definitely be good. Let's go ahead and purchase this guy. Oh, the base cost is 60. What the hell? I remember it being 50. It's just different for everybody? Maybe it's because I've already purchased a certain amount of them. Yeah, it could be that. Like, this is like the one country where I purchased a bunch. Maybe just China's is... Oh, no, it's more expensive because infantry weapons. Duh. Hello? All right, cool. So we're going to get the 5th garrison being made here. We're going to purchase that. And that's the only thing we have producing. So everything else China will ever get is something we have to produce. Nothing else is going to be free. They've gotten all their free stuff, unfortunately. No more after this. And I believe that is everything that we are going to do with our turn this turn. Really hope I remember to do with Malaya what I'm planning to do with Malaya. Because I think I only have like one more turn, 2 tops, to actually do what I'm planning to do. We are out of time, so we'll get to witness, probably, Barbarossa in the next episode. I hope you guys are looking forward to that. I don't know what to say if it doesn't happen. It's probably a good thing, more than anything. But for now, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.